Fumita Ueda? I don't know how you say that. How do you say that guy's name? Fumita Ueda?
Fumita Ueda. Fumita Ueda? Umita?
Ueda? Fumita Ueda?
Ueda Fumita.
This is getting racially biased.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points, everybody. Oh, I was waiting for a cutoff. Thought you were going to cut me off.
No, I was waiting to see if I was waiting for a microphone to fart. I was.
Well,
waiting.
You've come to the right place, my friend. It's March 8th. I'm Ryan Miller. He's the Tomax to my Zammot, Matt Amberg.
Deep cuts. Do you?
Are they?
If you're a viewer that gets the Tomax Zammot reference,
right in to Zero Hit Points, care of Real World Address.
Real World San Francisco. Do you remember Puck?
Dude, who doesn't?
Man.
He ate with his fingers.
And he snot rocketed everywhere.
Oh, did he ever? Bike messengers.
What are you gonna do?
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
Cool. Good.
It's been a while.
Yeah, a day or whatever.
Or so, whatever.
I don't know.
If you don't count texting.
Or looking at each other longingly through FaceTime.
I don't.
It's not really FaceTime so much as it is your Nest cameras that I've hacked.
I don't have a Nest camera. I use Logi Circle.
I was trying to throw off all of the other hackers, but now they know. You're in trouble. Everybody's watching.
Dang. I better take down my social security number poster on my wall. It was a bad idea in the first place. Have you done anything besides watch a movie? Just before we get into that.
Nope.
I'm trying to tease it out of you.
Nope.
Okay.
Wait,
Good.
Did I?
Man.
I sat.
Thank you.
I sat in virtual lines to buy tickets to two really, really, really obnoxious shows.
Hey, we both have tickets for shows coming up. Let's talk about those real quick. What do you got? We'll talk about it again when we go. So just saying. What do you got?
Depeche Mode, and I got tickets to see this. I am so excited about this. Tears for Fears and Hall & Oates.
I bet those weren't. What were the Hall & Oates tickets? What did they end up being?
They were expensive.
Okay, all right. That's fine. We're gentlemen. We don't talk dollars.
Let me put it this way. Because this is totally an anniversary gift. Let's put it that way. But to be fair, we got a whole bunch of stuff with it, so it's not just.
I think my ticket was $40, which still seems. I remember we bought 6. It's already an old conversation. $6 to $10 tickets to get into a show when I was a kid, and then I remember Stiff Little Fingers came to Santa Barbara and they charged $13, and we were rioting like that was these greedy it was pop punk was kind of happening, like Green Day was already probably had Longview out or something.
All right,
so $13, and we were like, oh, this is what is going on.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember the most expensive concert I had been to as a teenager that I paid for with my own money, $35. That was Jane's Addiction, and I was pissed.
Nuts.
I was so mad. But here's the deal. Both concerts, all three bands for me, massive bands for me. Like huge
and massive bands, period. Yeah, no, that's I'm not surprised at those ticket prices at all.
Tickets for Tears for Fears are almost generally the exact cost it was for them and Hall & Oates. And I'm like, and to see Hall & Oates, like,
sure.
I'm a man eater. And
both of them. You're getting 2 for the price of 1. You're technically seeing 3 for that ticket. Yeah.
Yeah. And they probably have more band members with them that I don't even know, like Hall & Oates, Jones, Smith.
It's no wonder they can't make any money, but
Kalashnikov.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And Oates.
And Oates, yes.
It's got to change it.
It's snappy.
Yeah, I got $40 for the Bouncing Souls, but it's at the Roxy, which I've kind of always wanted to go to.
Oh, so. Nice. That'll be cool. Yeah.
And then actually they just released actual summer tour dates where they're coming LA's still 2.5 to 3 hours away from me. Mm-hmm. They just now released tour dates that they're going to be here within 20 minutes of me now. So in August. So I get to go see him twice. Actually, no, this is the other thing that happened. Check this out. I was talking to an old friend, and she was telling me she was looking for tickets to Social Distortion, who was playing in LA, which I didn't have any anyways. And she mentioned that she had bought tickets for Flogging Molly, which the last time I saw the Bouncing Souls, they were on tour with Flogging Molly, and I asked Candy to marry me right afterwards, actually.
Well, when you see Flogging Molly, you're just like, you know what? That's the band. You know, I am in love. Let's do this.
It's an even better story than that, actually. She got kicked in the head by a crowd surfer, and I had to carry her out of the right. Everybody's got that one story that, you know.
Yeah,
that's why we got married. She was half unconscious.
Everybody has that one love, that one marriage where, hey, how'd you get married? Oh yeah, concussion.
No, it's always like, and I forgot the ring at home, but we did it anyways.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
it was beautiful.
So we're too far incepted at this point. And so talking to my friend, she mentioned that she had got tickets for Flogging Molly in LA on the same day. I look it up. It's March 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day. So I may have bought tickets to the wrong band on St. Patrick's Day. I mean, I get to go to the Roxy, but I'm not seeing freaking Flogging Molly on St. Patrick's Day, which might have the edge up there.
Yeah. That's.
It'll be fun. We'll talk about it when it happens.
Yeah, but okay. Here's the one bonus to not doing Flogging Molly though on St. Patrick's Day. You're not
surviving.
You're not seeing Flogging Molly on St. Patrick's Day.
Sure,
that's true. You know, like it's one of those things where like if I were in Boston on St. Patrick's Day, I would be out of my mind trying to see the Dropkick Murphys. But I know that if I did that, I'm probably gonna die. I'm okay with that.
You should mention that. Because this dropped like today or yesterday. Did you see that? Is that why you're mentioning it?
No, because I've always wanted to see the Murphys in Boston.
Dropkick is going on tour. It's called From Boston to Berkeley.
Nice.
And headlining with Rancid on all dates.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and then depending on where you see them, they have the openers are going to be the Bouncing Souls. That's why this is a thing. And Kevin Seconds, it's not 7 seconds. I guess he's doing a solo thing, but so yeah, there you go, right there.
I might have to check that out because I would like to go see my boys from Boston.
Anyways, fun,
good times.
All right. Speaking of tickets, right?
Nice.
Did you use any to see a movie?
I went and saw Get Out. It was really good.
Oh man, I want to see that. It was. You almost got me in the theater just by telling me you were going to go see it.
It was I knew going into it, like I had a predisposed notion, I guess, I don't know, that I was going to like this movie. Jordan Peele, it's a horror movie. It's got Bradley Whitford in it, and I think Bradley Whitford is one of my favorite all-time jackasses ever.
Right.
I love him for it. Yeah, and I knew that the general story, like the general idea, but I purposely stayed away from after like the first trailer hit. I didn't look at anything else. I didn't know anything about how it was going on and what like the Twilight Zone aspect of it is. And holy crap, is it cool. It made like, I've been thinking nonstop about that movie and the concept behind it and how that works and how it twisted things in just the right way, that like all the narrative, how it all kind of flips. And I have never been to a movie where the person sitting next to me was so anxious, had so much anxiety. They were gripping. I could like they were holding on to the handrest. I had moved my soda to like the other side. She was holding on to it and her leg was bouncing so much. It was shaking. Beth felt it 2 seats down. And she was like, I thought that was you.
I've heard this thing is more of a thriller than a horror movie.
No, and it is. And it totally is. But the last like third of the movie, the tension gets ratcheted up and you legitimately don't know. Like to me, there's a point in the movie where I figured it out. Like I knew how it all worked. I knew what was, I knew the kind of the conceit and how it was going to fit together.
Were you right?
I was. Okay. I did not know exactly how it was going to end. And when you kind of get to that ending, there's a point in that final third where it can go a couple of different ways. And I didn't know if Jordan Peele was going to kind of go, I didn't know what direction he was going to take it.
Sure.
And it was really, really, really satisfying the way he wraps everything together. The whole thing, just super, super satisfying. And
that's cool.
And yeah, like I said, I do admit that it wasn't long into the movie that I figured it out, that like the way it kind of fit, the twist worked. Like it's not a twist even. It's just the way it kind of fills out. I figured it out really early, but it didn't it didn't take anything away from it, because how they get there is always more important than what there is.
For sure.
And
Stephen King is the one who said if a movie can be spoiled for you, then it's probably not a very good movie.
And this is one that in spades, man, in spades, and 100% see it in the theater. There are at least 2 or 3 scenes that I absolutely, now I understand why Jordan Peele said you need to see it in the theater. Has he come out and said that? Actually, he said you really want to see it in the theater.
I mean, he would,
of course,
sure,
but directors come out and
you really
say,
might want to consider seeing this opening weekend, like probably at night.
You may want to see it 4 times, and tell your
the
friends.
First 3 days.
If you could hit it. But there's again, there's a couple of bits that really benefit from the size of the screen and the sound, and you really really good stuff.
That's one genre where I would say, yeah, because we recently had this discussion where I think I'm beginning to just straight up prefer watching movies at home now.
Right.
Almost regardless of the prices, which is still my number one gripe. But I can see how like thrillers and stuff that's way more kind of atmosphere intensive would benefit from still, And
this is one that when you take it home, like I'm guaranteed buying this movie, because I want to see it again, for one, and I want the director's commentary, period.
Oh yeah, sure.
This is the first movie that I know, the moment I walked out of it, I was like, I'm buying it on Blu-ray because I want that commentary. I want to hear not only the fact that he's gonna goof and he's gonna be funny, but he's
gonna be funny.
But I want to hear I want to hear him talk about the movie as
for sure,
totally.
Because the whole idea around this thing almost seems too perfect. Like
it is.
I haven't looked it up, but tell me this hasn't been done before already. It seems like it would have been, like this whole, playing on the fears, I guess, especially nowadays, with what's been going on, but with the whole Get Out and, guess who's coming to dinner. And
when you see the movie, when you see it, you will see every inspiration in the world. You'll see a billion different movies in it. You'll see a billion different books, stories, everything. You'll see all those inspirations that Peele got and wrapped it up into a really well put together story that has been told before, but not from this perspective and not like this.
It's just the marriage of that, that commentary and with this genre seems way too perfect. And I don't even if anybody's out there saying it's weird because he's known for comedy and all that stuff, sure, but this is not really out of left field at all, especially if you watch the comedy he's done, like the genre bending that he's done just on that show. Like they're incredibly talented in that way. Speaking of which, is
no
Key in there? Okay,
no. Key is
no cameo. That's smart. That's good.
You won't know anybody. The movie is so removed, but you got to see it. I can't. It's another one that I can't. You can't talk about really without kind of spoiling.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But
I think I want to see it more than Logan at this point. Actually,
I am glad that we made that decision. Honestly, I
want to see Logan.
I think we're gonna go this weekend for that one.
No, it's all right.
Can't skip that one.
Keep going to movies. See if I care.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
tell me about you.
I've got 2 small ones. Actually, one one's kind of big. You'll like it. Let's go with the small one first. Passengers.
That's the Jennifer.
This is my favorite part of telling you when I watch movies is watching you
Jennifer
try and remember.
Lawrence and Chris
Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yes, that is the one. It's it's one of those movies where they're trying to check all the boxes. They're like, guys are going to like this because it's in space. Girls are going to like this because it's technically a love story. Haha, guys. So,
except it's also
technically
kind of creepy,
a love story.
Right?
It's a little creepy. I mean, it's okay. So it's Chris Pratt. They're on this spaceship headed to, I don't know, Pluto or something. So it's taken a zillion years, maybe even just Mars. I don't know. The destination doesn't matter. So they're supposed to be in sleep, but they hit a thing that damages the ship and wakes up Chris Pratt's pod like 80 years early. So he's by himself for a year and can't stand it and almost commits suicide. So he wakes up Jennifer Lawrence after, they don't go real deep into this, but after like reading her book and kind of watching her videos about why she chose to be on the ship and stuff like that. So essentially he falls in love with her beforehand, even though they don't dwell on that part so much because you can tell they're trying to lighten the creepiness there a little bit because they do make a big deal and a big enough deal about it that he knows he's basically killing her by waking her up. And it's this dark secret that comes out later when Michael Sheen, the robot, does his thing.
Oh, Michael Sheen's in it?
Yeah, okay. He's pretty good.
I always like him. He's fun.
But yeah, overall, it's boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back. Like it's a love story. By the end, they make some cool parallels with how... I always don't want to spoil, but then I'm like,
this is not a movie I'm never going to see.
Does this movie get spoiled? Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you're not. If anybody is, whatever. I don't think it's going to hurt anything if you want to see it. I don't think it's going to hurt anything if you don't. But they draw some cool parallels at the end because the ship was damaged enough that he had to fix it, and he was the one that saved it. He ends up having to go out the airlock and prop open the exhaust vent. But then it's malfunctioning, so she has to actually turn on the exhaust while he's in front of the exhaust, essentially killing him. So it's like, it's redeeming him at the same time because it's like eye for an eye or whatever. But it's also at that point she comes to understand, maybe a little bit more of how he felt. But anyways, he survives, they survive, and whatever. It has maybe one cool scene in it. Okay, it has probably more than one, but there's one extra cool scene in it. Where gravity goes out while she's swimming in the pool. She kind of drowns in this floating bubble of water that was the pool. It's interesting to think about, and it's done well, like watching it. But overall, it's. Also not sure this is Chris Pratt's strength, really. But,
and don't swim in space. Don't just zero. If you've got the ability to lose gravity, don't go in water.
More interestingly, would you like to talk about Sicario for a little bit?
I love Sicario. Talk to me more about Sicario.
Sicario is amazing.
So good. Okay, what games did you play?
Really good.
No, that movie, man. Just like you see that, and it's a movie where I look at it and I go, all right, well, you've built up that kind of goodwill with that kind of look, with that kind of direction. I'm gonna go ahead.
Looks fantastic.
I'm gonna give you Blade Runner.
Kidding.
I'm gonna give you a shot
for sure. Oh man, yeah. Jeez, like hearing you talk about Deacons beforehand. I don't know if I was looking for it or what, but it's just from scene one. Like, yeah, that's
it's incredible.
That's a cinematography movie. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the story is fantastic too. I don't want to undersell that, but it's really hard to make a story because you're entering the movie through Emily Blunt. She's the protagonist. She's kind of a do-gooder compared to everyone around her. She's an FBI or something like that. She's being tapped by, I guess, what ends up being the CBI, CBIA,
yeah.
CBS,
the Canadian Broadcasting Company.
That's it. And the CIA agent Josh Brolin ends up being like they're operating kind of outside the confines of what you would consider to be legal or even ethical at times, right? So Emily Blunt has an issue with this, but it's done in such an awesome way where Josh Brolin's always in the know with his buddies or whatever, and she's kind of lost. Like they ask a lot of questions about torture and about like how far are you willing to go and the greater good and stuff like that. But it's hard to do that in a way when you're supposed to identify with the character who doesn't really understand to still pull that off in a way that is compelling.
Yeah,
is a total feat, and they do it like it's super interesting. Like you just want to know, like you want to be in that position, and you still want to know like the next thing that's happening, why it's happening. everything. It's cool. Benicio del Toro. Also,
oh man, that
don't know if he's been better in anything. I can't think of actually.
Probably legitimately his best role in my opinion. Absolutely,
really
good, he was everything he needed to be there. Like he was dead cold when he needed to be. He gave enough. Like he was just perfect. Like in that role, and that taking a film like this and not only making the story interesting, but making it visually appealing when you're in what is essentially a really drab lot of colors.
Yeah.
You're in deserts, and there are lots of ways to shoot desert. We've seen it in a million different movies. You can make a desert look, bright and lush. You can make it just this washed out nightmare. And this runs this perfect line of harsh with like little bits of man, there's a little bit of hope there. Please. So good.
It's so good that when it does finally kind of take the time to get down to brass tacks or whatever, like actually explain or wrap up the story even, because Benicio del Toro is a Sicario, he's a hitman, and that's enough. Yeah, I'll say that. That has a vendetta that wraps up in the end. It's so good that when it gets down to that stuff, you're kind of like, I guess we have to go through this part. It still manages to say something in the whole, but you're almost like, I almost enjoyed not knowing for the great, I almost enjoyed the limbo more than
yeah, because you get at the end, that end bit, you kind of shift from Emily Blunt to Benicio
sure.
del Toro. Yeah. And when you get that shift, you're given an entire movie of ethical quandaries that the person you're identifying with is in the same boat you are. You look at this and go, okay, well, maybe I can kind of see from one perspective that it's that, kill one, save 1,000.
Yeah.
But
and they're the ego and the id. Like they are the thing that's coming together. Like, forget Josh Brolin even. Like,
right.
It's Benicio del Toro versus Emily Blunt technically for the whole film.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
when
what you're looking at.
And when one finally takes over from the other, and you kind of get the resolution there, man, that was.
It's good. It's still good for sure.
Yeah, it's great. You see it coming, and it's still like. Oh.
Yeah, I get that, but you know which way it's gonna go. Like,
it had to.
I'm not gonna say, but yes, yeah.
It's a good movie, man.
Good
really
movie. Good movie, man. But what video games did we play?
I did something that I thought I would never do again.
Destiny.
Electronic Arts is, God, if they did Destiny, I'd definitely not buy it either. EA was doing a sale. I don't know I think it's still going on, where they took just massive amounts off of a variety of games. And one of the games they took money off of was $20 is NHL 17. And
ooh,
I haven't played any NHL games since 12 or 13 maybe.
Been a while. We had a quick discussion last year sometime. I don't know. Yeah,
it's been a while, and a huge part of it for me was they had issues with glitch goals, and it was like the same stuff, and the goalies were idiots, and the AI was bad, and so you playing online, if you play 5v5, it was fine, but people were always glitching, and it was like one type of glitch goal, and it was and it happened every year. Like there'd be a type, and finally it was $20. I haven't played in a while. I've got friends that still play, so why not pick it up? And I have just been playing it nonstop. I've actually been having a lot of fun with it.
And okay, cool. All right,
it's really good.
Is the glitch thing still there?
No, not that I found yet. Actually, I've played
a
bunch of online games with them, and every goal that's been scored has been at least reasonable. They haven't been the like, I'm not seeing goals coming from the same exact spot every single time. You're not
exploits
getting
or anything. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And the single player stuff has been great. I've started my Be a Pro, and here's an interesting, weird, bizarro factoid. Every time I've ever played an NHL game where you could get drafted by a team, I've been drafted by the same team. I don't even like the team. I don't know how it
like
manages.
You.
Apparently, every game, like, I have never been drafted by another team. I've been traded right after a draft, but I've never been drafted by another team. And
You're saying across different games?
Across different games.
Game?
No, different games. Team? I'm always drafted by the freaking Toronto Maple Leafs. Don't know why. Always.
Adam Parkin, is that okay?
Oh, Adam's not a Maple Leaf fan. No.
But he lives in the same country. I don't understand.
He does. He hates that part of the country from a sport perspective. Toronto's over here. So imagine it like this. Toronto's like Detroit, and he's in Vancouver, which is like Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah. So like he likes the Vancouver team, not the Detroit team, or not the Toronto team. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is he right?
Oh no, he definitely likes the wrong team.
Okay.
No, Vancouver is always awful. Sure. No.
Okay.
My favorite part of Vancouver, my favorite historical moment in Canucks history.
We're trolling him at this point.
Canucks history, greatest moment. We can think back to many years ago. 2000 was it 9? No.
Yes.
No, maybe it was. No. Oh, bad. Was it 2011, 2010, something like that? When
might have been 2010.
The Canucks head-to-head Stanley Cup Finals with my hometown Boston Bruins. They go back to Vancouver. They're going to not even show up to the game, and they're going to get crushed and lose the Stanley Cup. Then the city's going to riot, and then there's going to be this awesome photo of this guy kissing his girlfriend on the ground while there's like a riot cop behind them, and all sorts of bad stuff is happening.
Is this a true story?
Dead. Yes, it is a 100% true story.
It's so true. You've lost all control.
It is not a lie. It is a true story, and Adam will be more than happy to correct me on the year, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to tell me to go to hell because, man, that's salt in a wound.
Oh, I'm glad I could be a part of it for just 1 second. Anything else about the game? Like what?
It's great. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you were going to pick up a sports
not breaking
game,
the mold, but
no,
good.
not at all. But if you were going to pick up, this is a great game to pick up if you want to pick up a sports game and you're not sure if you don't want. Like, I can't speak to any of the other like NBA or Madden, but this is good. So
it's good. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already bought it. It'll be here tomorrow.
Nice. Did you really? Here's the thing is I could almost imagine you doing that because you said you'd buy the disc.
No, I did. It'll be here tomorrow. I just have been looking forward to saying it in passing and trying to talk about the next thing immediately for just 2 days now.
That's so aggravating.
I bought it like the day we talked about it, basically. You're like, oh, I picked it up. I was like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. I looked into it and I bought it. So
that's actually really exciting. I'm actually very excited about this.
See, everybody's happy.
It's going to be one of these. I can't wait to see what. I'm looking forward to hearing.
It'll be bad.
No, I'm looking forward to hearing hearing your thoughts on it.
It'll be like imagine Overwatch where I get into the game with like you and your friends, and I'm still like we'll talk about this very soon. In fact, still. There are characters I haven't played yet because I'm kind of moving my way down the line. So I will still get into a game with you and your friends and be like, okay, what do I do now? Like who do I choose? Tell me who to choose. I know what to do, but I'm not into the meta, which you guys very much are. So I still think it's funny when we get into these very not competitive but serious or at least intelligent matches, and I'm like, what do I do now, guys?
and then you've got
imagine that. Times 10.
And every time we're like, yeah, just go DPS. Just pick soldier. Shoot at Farah.
Yeah, always you're like DPS. Farah. I'm like, what now?
Yeah, DPS.
Just give me the name of a character.
Always soldier.
Like, choose somebody with a gun. What?
What's a gun?
No. Yeah. Yeah, so imagine that. Not that I don't know much about hockey. I don't know much about sports.
No, this
will be just fantastic.
See, hockey is great because it's easy, and since you've never played it, you won't have any of the biases that I have with so okay, here are the downsides to this. I have memory bias from playing these games. It does not play like the older games. So like, for example, I heard
you talking a little bit because I've been in the party with you while you were playing sometime. I heard you talking a little bit about trying to restructure your control scheme or something like that.
Yeah, because so great example is in the older games when you would drop down to block a shot, like you drop all the way down to the ice, you would slide on the ice, and especially if you had momentum, you'd go. In this, you don't. You drop and you're down. You're like you move like the most minute amount, and that's different. And it's the same thing with the way you kind of come to a stop is far more realistic here than what it used to be. So if I'm coming down to, I play a lot of defense. My Be a Pro is defense. When I play online, I'm generally a defenseman.
You're the healer. I got you.
Yeah, it's again. But you come down to get into the slot to block out to block out in front of the net.
Slot.
Yeah.
Net. I'm taking notes here.
The goalie.
Keep going.
Because they got their player there, and I'll overshoot it instead of stopping.
Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks.
Yep.
Okay, keep going.
The Goldberg, and you can be the Mighty Ducks. You can actually make a goaltender named Goldberg if you wanted to.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
You can be a pro.
It's gonna be good.
Gonna be,
we'll see.
It'll be fun. It'll be good. It's fun. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure almost all the achievements can be handled through a pro level. I don't know that you need to bump the difficulty up on that.
To speak about why I bought it, I ended up getting it because I haven't played any sports game in a ton of time, and I would say probably never since maybe Madden 96, and even then probably not. I've never actually gotten into a sports game, like tried to understand the systems, tried to understand the sport, any of that. So I thought, and this goes a little bit back to last week when we talked about Ghost Recon Wildlands, even just how a lot of the games are just kind of the latest of the same. This might even be that, but I have next to no experience with it. It's a new experience for me, and that sounded interesting and still fun on its own. So yeah, looking forward to it.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. You'll have. I think you'll have a good time. It'll be. Played some Overwatch too. Bastion's a butthole now.
Well, so the PTR stuff went into effect, and he's, I guess, a little stronger than he was before, or a little more viable.
He's a lot stronger than he was before.
Okay, all right.
His health is up more. He can heal. His heal is now it's a metered thing, and he can run with it. He doesn't get stopped in one spot.
That's right.
And on top of that, you can out heal damage for the most part now, even ulted damage. So
it does sound a little. I mean, I don't envy Blizzard developers in any way. Like it's this, for what has seemed, and we've talked about this before as well, like an incredible balancing act as is. Like they need to rebalance stuff in a way that it might look like this at first, but hopefully evens out in the end, because they have to anticipate all of the counters, how people are going to react, and how it's going to change the entire game, not just Bastion or whatever. So
I don't think the changes are anything like untoward. There's something that can mostly be dealt with. But one of the interesting things about Bastion in general, especially when you up his viability, is, and we actually ran into it the other day, it makes the game very difficult it's hard to counter this when you have on Ilios. There's that one map where the it's not ruins, it's not the well, it's the other one where you have the point that's in the little house that
on the edge of the cliff, basically.
Right. Well, there are definitely ways to counter. I'm not saying you can't, but it's really hard to counter a Bastion that has that power now, that is being shielded by a Reinhardt, that also is being damage boosted. You can't get into that room, so you need a Junkrat to kind of bounce stuff, but then you've got a Reinhardt that's blocking stuff with shield. So
we handily lost that round.
We did.
I think we won the game.
We did. We won the game, but we lost that round. And that was one of those things where all of us were like, okay, how do you counter that? Yeah. And we didn't have enough time to successfully figure that out, because the one issue that I run into with something like this, and this is why I don't know that any of them are OP right now. I don't think Bastion is OP. I think there are cases where he's probably stronger than he should be, but I don't think it's overpowered necessarily.
Sure.
But one of the things that people forget about when they do say stop complaining about him is this, and this is a great case where we had this as a standard map that you're going to play on. You have to focus on getting Bastion down while the rest of their team is now focused on killing every one of you. And you don't have time, you're hoping at that point to kind of get 4 or 5 of them gone so that you can focus the Bastion, but it's hard. That's a hard thing to get around.
Yeah.
And
it's just those jerks that actually play together. That's what, do things in concert. And
there were a whole bunch of changes though, and it sounds like the Bastion changes are actually getting reverted Jeff came out and said people complained enough that I guess they complained in PTR too. They said this is bad, not good. Like lots of people,
what are they doing?
High level and high level players were complaining about it too. So this is not the Bastion thing was hammered.
That's what PTR was for.
No. And that right there is, I'm glad you brought that up. Something Kaplan brought up 2 developer commentaries ago is, what is the PTR for? Because people seem to have a misunderstanding. People seem to think that the
people
PTR...
like me.
Yeah, no, great time. People seem to think the PTR is meant specifically for working on the balancing. And it's not. It's meant for bugs. That's what it's meant for. Bugs and resource management, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
I have been taught.
Everybody
by
was
the master
taught.
even.
Everybody was taught, because that's what I thought it was for the longest time. Everybody seemed to think that.
They could maybe call it not public test realm, I guess, if that was...
Maybe just call it a validation center. I don't know. But along with all of that, there were a whole bunch of changes that went into the PTR last week and then today or yesterday that are huge. First being... Ana is getting a massive nerf. Her biotic grenade is getting tanked. That thing is
really?
So the meta is changing, and the meta is changing because a new character is coming in. So there's a couple things here that don't sound like they make sense, but they probably will in the long run. So her biotic grenade is going down. The damage on her rifle is going up. That doesn't really balance out. It does nerf Ana a great deal. It makes her survivability really lower, and it makes her use overall a little bit lower. But it's going to boost Mercy, who had a change made to her where now not only can she move while she's rezzing, she also gains the invincibility that the rezzed people get for those 2 seconds while they're being rezzed.
That makes sense.
Which makes perfect sense, because you couldn't have a Mercy go into a fight, res people, and live. It was a death sentence every time. So now
True. Yeah, it was always a sacrificial play.
Right. So now she gets a little more survivability, which is cool. One of the other changes that's huge is Zenyatta is getting the ability to Discord orb through barriers. And that is also...
That sounds kind of crazy.
So that also, first thought is, that sounds way too strong. But, again, going back to the new character, which we'll get to in a second, it all makes sense. Finally, another huge change. Junkrat is going to become super freaking viable now, because he is no longer getting damaged by his own grenades, which means Junkrat can now actually rush in. He can be on the front lines instead of sitting back. And again, due to the new character. So the new character, Orisa... Yeah,
tell me, I forgot to read anything about it. So
Orisa,
what's the name?
Orisa,
okay,
she's a tank. She is a centaur, essentially. She's a centaur, basically. She has a really big hitbox. Huge. Her ult is very cool. She drops a little a thing that damage boosts everybody within line of sight. And it sounds like a pretty big damage boost, and for a long time. But her main weapons are kind of interesting. So she doesn't have a hit scan gun, but she has a really high-powered rifle thing that is projectile-based. So... the difference between projectile and hit scan is if your cursor's over the person, you pull the trigger, that's where it's hitting. Right. So McCree is hit scan. If you are aimed at the person, that bullet's hitting them. As
opposed to Zarya, whose alternate is a projectile. It's got a curve, or Hanzo.
Right. And in this case, it's gun. So it's a gun, but it's a projectile gun. So it's still firing at a high rate of speed, like a minigun, basically.
Okay.
So she has that. Her secondary fire is a very a minute version of Zarya's ult. So anybody in the kind of the general area gets sucked to the little ball, and it's manual too. So you fire off the ball, then you press the button again, and zhunk,
nice.
It sucks. So this is going to be very cool, because people hide behind a wall or something. You pull them out into the wall.
That's cool.
And then the other ability she has, and this goes back to all the changes. She can fire off a portable barrier. It's a one-time use thing, and then it recharges. It has 900 health. It's
Symmetra,
down.
Like it travels.
No, it doesn't travel. It shoots down. It's down. So all of the changes that are coming for all these other characters now kind of start to make sense when you realize how many barriers exist. So
makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Good
and
call.
another huge change. This one kind of goes under the radar, but it's a big deal. They lowered the volume on Sombra's decloak from whatever it is to like when you're like 15 meters away, it's silent now for the most part. So 15 meters is also happens to be the distance that she can hack.
Huh.
This is great because right now, if you decloak with Sombra, like it's
everybody can hear you.
Yeah, you're like, here I am, like as loud as you can. So they're finally getting rid of that. Like they're finally changing that up a little bit. And that's a really welcome change because Sombra is now going to be, I think she's going to get more picks with Bastion's changes, with all the barriers and stuff. You're going to need a Sombra to go in and hack those Reinhardts to knock that barrier down. You're going to need a Sombra to hack the Orisa so she can't drop her barrier. You know, so Sombra is going to get some playtime.
That's cool, man.
That's
cool.
It's going to be really interesting. Barrier Watch is a go.
Blizzard doing a good job over there.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Orisa is going to go. I think she's going to drop next week into production. So
and we had fun playing. We played for maybe an hour or two.
Yeah.
Yesterday or something like that. I'm still on Winston. And I was able to get his achievement for damaging 6 team members by damaging about 3 team members. So
it was great.
I was going about it the wrong way. Turns out.
Stop doing it and just don't.
It was great. Somebody was observing me too as they were waiting to get in, Mertz or something. He's like, that wasn't 6 people. And I was like, no, it was not.
You just punched a wall for 4 seconds and then emoted.
I know for a fact too, because one of them, before I even ulted, died. So there was only at the most 5 people on that board right then when I was ulting. So, and I hit 3 of them as far as I knew. Whatever.
I love it.
We take it.
It was good.
Overwatch is good. Cool. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
And then for the hit play last week, we played more Rocket League. And man, that new Rumble mode is the bee's knees.
It's a winner.
It is. That seriously just brought me right back to the memory of how great that game is. And I only want to play that game again.
It's smart too. Like the way they do the power-ups. They're not on the map. You're not having to drive through them like the booster or anything. It's just you get one every 10 seconds or whatever it is. And I noticed that time changes. I don't know what it changes based on.
It's based on the power-up, whichever. Like, I think it's the strength of the power-up. I think that they're kind of balanced it off of that.
Still, they've struck a perfect balance. Like it's so super fun.
fun.
All the power-ups are just a blast to use too. They're cool.
Yeah, and I think the cool part is like we Rocket League again. It goes back to being one of those few games where you get into a game, it's 5-0. You got 3 minutes left. Oh, guess what? 6-5. You just won, and we did that.
We did.
So that was cool.
And that's up. Actually, I even already posted it. I don't have to do some weird day finagling where I'm like, it's up yesterday or today or now or by the time you hear this. It's just up. I put it up.
It's there.
You can watch it.
Use your eyes.
So I'm going to weave you a tale. You ready?
Tell me a wait.
Have you heard of Abzu?
It's a T.
I heard some fair, close enough. I heard about it last year. I don't think it made a ton of top 10 lists, but I heard like a lot of honorable mention about it. It's this swimming simulator basically. Like it's not completely real to life. It's still a little cartoony, but it's like a meditation game, if that's a thing.
Oh, totally. No, okay. Yeah.
It's
Flower,
gorgeous.
Dude. Flower.
You're swimming around the bottom of the ocean. You're interacting with different animals, fish, whatever. I haven't got that far into it. So my son is currently obsessed with sharks. He's at that age or whatever. But he also, being special needs, has obsessions kind of differently than some kids do.
Sure.
He's got a shark book. He's got some other things, but he likes sharks. So I got this game because I was like, I thought it would be great because it's very meditative. Like it's low impact. You know, I thought it would be easy enough that my daughter could control it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I'll put my son in front of it. I'll put my daughter with the controller, and I'll be like, hey, let's check it out. This could be cool. So I did that, and my daughter's 7, so she, while likes video games, she sometimes she wants to immediately understand them or know how to control them.
Yes.
and the default controls on Abzu are inverted. So she I stared at her for maybe a full minute while she just did circles, like 360-degree circles, and I'm like, "Are you meaning to do that?" And she's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay," because she's also at the age where she doesn't want to be wrong. So
that's never gonna change.
I watched her do these circles for a while, and I'm like, here, let me show you some things. And she got frustrated quick, which led to me, because I'm a good dad, saying, no, you can't go do something else. Sit there and play this video game.
You know what? Parenting done right.
Right? So that didn't work either. It didn't really pan out. It's a beautiful game. It is as beautiful. My daughter likes to watch it still. Like, I've picked it up maybe once or twice since. Like, I'll just sit my son on my lap and I'll kind of go through it, and he's looking for the shark the whole time, and we haven't got there yet.
Oh,
but my daughter will still be watching it from afar and be like, "Oh, you're riding a manta ray now." And I'll be like, "Yeah." So she's interested, but the controls kind of hit a wall real quick.
Dude, I totally wish I could bring your son over and let him play with the Vive and do the blue.
Oh no, and that's what I was actually thought about that too.
It, man, he would have so much fun.
Because this is like this should be a VR game. Like, I know there's lots of actually even techie demos of this sort of thing. I think there's one where you just walk into the ocean and the whale swims by you. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But the sense of scale is immense and crazy, and yeah, it's one of the things I want to try the most.
That's kind of what the blue is. The blue is like
that's what it is. Yeah.
You've got a bunch of different scenarios, and there's one where you're on the deck of a ship and a giant blue whale goes by, and there's one
that's the one
where you get the one that I like the most is actually there's one where you're in a spot where you just get surrounded by jellyfish.
Yeah, man, I would love to put him in that and see what, because he does have this thing with sharks, but he gets like, he has some, they're not obsessions, I forget what you call them now, because again, I'm a good dad, but like, he has sound sensitivity, like he has auditory kind of tics.
Sure.
Like, bells will vibrate at a certain whatever that it scares him. Like, he puts his hands over his ears, like, what's happening, and he can acclimatize to where he's not, and I can help him do that. But stuff that's underwater does the same thing to him. Like, we went to the California Science Center at one point and watched a movie. It was like the Science Center movies, like it's 3D IMAX, but it's basically just a bunch of footage.
Right. Yeah.
Of whales underwater, and he was like out of his mind, like kind of nervous, weird. Like, so yeah, this maybe isn't making the case for why I want to see him in VR.
No, it makes the case why I want to see it, because I think it's going to be great.
All right. Yeah. Anyways, cool game. I'll continue to do it.
Nice.
And get to the end of it. It's not that long anyways.
I like those meditative things.
They're real nice sometimes.
They are.
It's pretty cool. And then, do you want to talk about Superhot for a while?
Sure. I love Superhot. Superhot.
Finally started and technically finished. I'm still working on some of the achievements and some of the challenge rooms and whatnot. And I think that'll probably be what I stream of this thing.
Do it.
But done with the story, like minute all the way through that. And that is a tight bunch of fun. Just stylistic tour de force.
Thank you.
I don't know. When I say that, like, I don't just mean like the graphics or the red white thing. I mean like all the, because it tells a story and it's got like this hacker thing to it, and like it's not technically Russian, but it's Russian. Like you can, it seeps through the cracks, and it's really good.
It is good.
It's super fun.
It's super hot.
Did you play that thing all in one sitting when you played?
No, it was like 2 or 3, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't realize.
Might be the same for me.
I didn't realize how short it was when I was playing it. So I was like, I know that the last, like the second or third time, whenever I finished it, my save was like the last part. It was like, because I only the last time I played it was like 15 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm done.
I should say I did it in 2 or 3 sittings, but in the same day. Like, I still finished it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's good. It was a lot of fun.
It was great. I don't know. There's nothing else to say about it other than
it's one of the most innovative shooters I've played in years.
Is it? It's one of the most innovative shooters I've played in years as well.
Oh man, I didn't get that joke. I heard somebody else say that and didn't get it, but now I played the game.
Now you get it.
And now you'll get it.
Superhot is one of the most innovative shooters I've played in the last year.
It's fun. And I will stream probably some of that. If not this week, maybe next week. Actually, I'm going to Sacramento next week. I don't know. Who cares about anything? Hey, I'll tell you who.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Switchmas.
Yeah, the Switch came out. A couple things we could mention about it, especially if you haven't got yours yet, like us.
I did some casual checking. Nothing in my area. But I'm not going. It's something that this is where I'm at with the Switch. I am gonna get the console. I already know that. It's a guarantee. I just don't know when. Yeah, it'll be when it's. I'm not gonna order it online. It's gonna be something that I will buy. I want to pick up in hand. And that'll be that.
I've heard people talking about this, and I hope the same, but that somewhere around the holidays, it'll be packed in with 1-2 Switch or something. Like it'll have a game with it.
I hope so.
So yeah, that would be a thing to wait for as well.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm not in the need for a console right now.
Yeah.
I've got enough.
Although the stuff I've been seeing, like...
I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
It looks good. It looks like it's doing good. There have been some issues, which we want to mention. The maybe more widespread thing, I guess, are people are having some Wi-Fi issues, by which we mean like they're in front of their router and still only have 2 bars.
Well,
not just that it's maybe a bad Wi-Fi chip in there, but it's maybe a cheap Wi-Fi chip in there in all of them.
What are you going to do?
Nintendo not historically using the most up-to-date components in their consoles.
I mean, to be fair, nobody really uses up-to-date components in consoles.
Fair, yeah, that is
but
true.
Nintendo is consistently in that, like, hey, why put money into this? Our games never need it.
To be even more fair, yes, you're on a Nintendo. What are you gonna do? Play games online? Come on.
You don't do that. Even after
Silly.
your day one patch, they probably broke your Wi-Fi. But hey, at least the Joy-Cons kind of work.
Yeah, there was a day one patch, and it seems to have solved the issue we talked about last week with the Joy-Cons, like sometimes not connecting right. But there was a further statement from Nintendo saying that if you're still having problems with that, it's probably interference.
Yeah. Nintendo says, if you're having Joy-Con disconnection issues, turn off everything that's electronic in your house. Don't use a cell phone. Hey, that TV you're using to play this game, turn it off.
They took the cell phone off the list, but yes, they released an actual. They're like, try not to do these things behind a TV.
Use a TV.
Sorry, don't put your Switch. Yes, use a TV. Open your eyes. Move your fingers.
Use our console. Play a Ubisoft game.
They said try not to put the Switch behind a TV, near an aquarium, placed in or under a metal object, pressed against a large amount of wires and cords, or within 3 to 4 feet of another wireless device, such as a wireless speaker or a wireless access point.
So here's my issue, okay? I have all of those things like in my aquarium. Like I've got wires going through it, and that's where I put my stuff.
When we say aquarium, you have an exhibit attached to your house.
Yeah, no, I do.
Where
I have
people can come.
That's what I'm saying.
And ride manta rays. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so. You could pet them and feed them. I've got one giant one that's got like a saddle on it.
There's like a sea cucumber just on top of your Switch. Come on, that's not gonna work.
Okay, who left Jeff the anemone out?
So yeah, they also said watch out for microwaves and stuff like that. They did take cell phones off of their
busted list,
device list of things not to keep near. Well, it doesn't really matter because I bet everybody's got some or 2 to 5 of these things all around somewhere. So they should have accounted for this stuff anyways.
Correct. Correct. Because if you, Nintendo, think that you're going to be the only console in my house or even in that general region,
or wireless device,
yeah, you are cracked.
Or wire,
or anything, or even, you know what? If you exist.
But again, not everybody having these issues, so whatever.
Here's my favorite issue with the Switch is how do you turn it off?
There's an article out there. I guess there's people having problems. Which my nightmare scenario is the meeting that took place at Nintendo somewhere that was like, how do we keep them from turning it off? And they're like, check this out. Let's make it so they have to hold down the button, choose a menu, choose another menu, and then they can turn it. Yeah, that sounds right. Make it hard to find.
They'll never, ever leave.
It'll be great if we see some stats somewhere eventually that's like 1 zillion hours logged on Nintendo Switches so far.
Exactly. That's totally what they're going to do.
People just aren't turning these things off.
Yeah, it's insane.
Success. Although they did outsell the Wii. That it is a success, actually, so I guess.
Well, It outsold the Wii U, not did it outsell the Wii?
No, it outsold the Wii, which it's the headline because the Wii was last time Nintendo saw kind of a runaway success with their console, right? The Wii U, not that.
No, it was not a runaway success at all.
But this is the thing: the Wii U was a runaway success kind of after the fact. Like Grandma wasn't there day one. She didn't pick up that Wii day one. She picked it up after she played it at her kid's house or something like that. You know?
Oh yeah,
And that's where the Wii kind of exploded. So I'm not really surprised to see the Switch, which is kind of more of a known quantity than the Wii was at that time. I'm not surprised to see it outsell the Wii within the first 2 days, but it's still cool.
It's cool. Yeah. Not as cool as Dr. freaking Fate.
No.
Showing up in Injustice 2.
That's a good trailer.
Dude, that trailer.
The best trailer?
It sold me on the game. Like I mentioned it a couple weeks back that if they're going to sell me on the game, they got to put somebody in there that really grabs me. And I mentioned Dr. Fate specifically, and there it is, man. Like they hinted at him in the first game. He was in that rumored list of characters. It's all coming to pass.
And the trailer is good. Like the stuff they show him doing, like all his powers, his just straight up design.
Yeah.
It's good looking.
Again, still I think he's got the coolest mask of all time.
For sure. Yeah, sure.
And then they also...
And going a little more obscure, still kind of towing that line. I like it.
They also detailed NetherRealm, detailed the gears and the ability system and stuff, which is kind of interesting. It's a departure from the last game. This one you're going to have gear that comes out as like you can have different outfits, and there are different head skins, obviously, but you can mix and match like arms and legs. And if you have things that match in a set, then you'll get extra bonuses. So like Batman's got a set of things he's got like a special utility belt and special arms and special helmet and all that. You put it all together and you get a bonus to an ability that it makes his ability like a wider spread and lasts a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah.
They did immediately come out and were like, if you want to actually play this game competitively, this stuff is all turned off. You're not required to use it.
I didn't see that actually. That makes sense.
Yeah. You get to play the game as a regular fighter.
Although that's kind of a bummer.
Not for the competitive scene. It's not.
Well, so I get that they would want a mode with all that turned off, and I get why that would be the competitive mode. But when because I didn't know about that, so when I first read about this, I thought, wow, that speaks of a really deep system. But now the fact that you're saying they can turn it off and it won't be competitive kind of makes me think that they're not going that deep with it, or maybe that concerned about balancing as much as they could be.
I think there's definitely some depth there, and they talked about, actually, one of the interesting things was every character has like kind of X amount of changes you can make to them, and different kind of like ways to kind of build them out, but you won't know what those builds are until, like, you won't know what abilities the other character that you're fighting has until it happens.
Which I thought that would be another cool thing for the competitive scene, because
it could
fighting games are largely about that. This is core to the genre, right? Like counters and choosing one character versus another, or
right. This comes down to a fundamental question of number one, what if you go in a competitive game where they have this, but you don't have everything unlocked? You're already at a disadvantage. Well, because you have to unlock everything. That's
they
one.
Largely take pains to have that stuff unlocked, though. There would be parity. Because that would be ridiculous in a competitive scene.
Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe it goes competitive. I don't. Things like this generally never make competitive because they want it to be. Sure. They want it to be the skill and not the luck of the RNG, or the luck of you built this guy knowing that this guy was going to build this way, which is different than I know how they play, but I don't know. Like, you're gonna when you make a build like that, you're conferring extra to a certain ability, and as soon as you know what that ability is that has more to it, then you're gonna look to counter that. I don't know. It could.
Yeah, no, that's what. No, we're saying the same thing. I just thought it sounded interesting because it would.
Yeah, and I see
system.
the argument. I just don't see it happening. And
no, me neither. Really. Who knows? In any event, like whatever happens competitively, it was good for me. Whereas this is another game where I'm kind of like, it looks cool, but I'm not as into fighting games, and they're all kind of a lot alike.
They're very samey. Yeah.
This is good. Like I like what I'm, because you're right. There's 4 slots. And then there's an ability slot, and there's also they're talking about shaders and basically different skins and stuff like that, which I'm not so much into that part, but the idea of changing gameplay or, again, having a deeper system in this way, even though I'm not always into the meta like that anyways.
Sure.
It's cool to see that there is something different to this. That's heartening. Like, that makes me more interested.
It'll be fun. That's one where it'll be kind of interesting online. And I know, I'll play a couple of games online and see what it's like. But Injustice 2 is a day one for me. I'll have that.
Cool.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Cool. The other thing real quick is some of those, I don't know if these are technically the shaders, but they did show some character models from a lot of the different books. Like, they showed Red Sun Superman.
It was cool, and it was old Superman. Did you notice that it was old?
Kingdom Come Superman.
It was the Kingdom. It was the Alex Ross Superman. Yeah.
So
that was cool.
That's also very cool. Like, getting me interested in skins, even. That's a thing.
It's the way to go.
There's another Mass Effect Andromeda video out there.
Isn't there always? Hey, look, did you see this video where we only talk about that gun? And hey, here's 100 planets. You can go to 12. Hey, look at this. It's a Mako, but not.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think that's part of the thing that might be. I mean, I don't know if I was going to get this day one anyways. I like Mass Effect, but I'm a couple games behind now. I'd be more likely, and have always been more likely, to actually play Mass Effect 3 maybe than start this new thing. But yeah, I feel over-marketed by this thing. And the 100 planets thing, like...
What the hell? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me there's 100 planets and you can explore 12 or whatever.
Well, this is from the video. Yeah, they're like Mass Effect features and a little, like, okay. The headline on Polygon isn't great either, but on the one hand, saying that Mass Effect features hundreds of planets, but don't worry, you can only go to a handful of them. Like, that's what we call technically not featuring hundreds of planets.
Right.
That's featuring a handful of planets, which I don't want a game that features hundreds of planets, honestly. So that's fine, but whatever. Yeah, so we're whatever.
I'm
more to come.
Well, more to come.
Maybe stop.
Except the multiplayer beta, which was canceled. So
yeah. Oh, so that was the other thing. The line they have from this thing too. Quote, and this is from Fernando Melo, Disco Babaloo on Twitter, who's probably involved with Mass Effect Andromeda somehow. Yeah, he's a Bioware producer. He says, quote, long story, but right decision for how close we are to being live. Referring to why they canceled the multiplayer beta.
I feel like that's the exact opposite reasoning.
Well, right, yeah. Like, that just sounds like we've got to ship no matter what. Right?
You could construe it that way.
That doesn't sound...
It certainly doesn't instill any confidence in me.
I don't know what anybody wants from Mass Effect multiplayer anyways, I guess. Maybe we're...
I am still blown away that they're doing it. I'm sure people enjoyed it, but how freaking many people are going into Mass Effect I want to play the multiplayer. That's my driving factor here.
But hey, maybe not the weirdest marketing of the week. So Bungie's released a new video about the next, I guess it's just event. This isn't a DLC pack. For Destiny.
Yeah.
And then they also let drop that all of Destiny 1 will be deleted for Destiny 2, basically. You're not bringing anything over. So here's some new content. It's not going to matter, guys.
Okay, so you're getting some content. You do get to bring over the look of your character. You get to bring over shaders and stuff.
Check out this quote, man. This is a bad quote. We know that, just like us, you have grown fond of the Guardians you've created, so we do plan to preserve your character personalization, Bungie said. We are going to recognize the dedication and passion you've shown for this world, specifically the class, race, gender, face, hair, and marking selections for all characters that have achieved level 20 and completed the Black Garden story mission will carry forward. We also plan to award those veteran accounts with honors that reflect your Destiny 1 accomplishments. First of all, I think that actually not importing stuff from Destiny 1 is the right call.
Okay.
Like, let me just say that. Like, I get that it's a bummer, but I think they're doing the right thing.
Okay.
As someone who's not going to buy Destiny 2, like, whatever. But this statement is a bummer all on its own. Like, they had to break... The character creator for Destiny isn't full featured by any stretch of the imagination anyways.
No, not even a little bit.
But to stretch that out, to turn that into 7 things here, class, race, gender, face, hair, the things that take like one button press. Don't worry. That's coming over because we realize that's important to you. Is that important to anybody?
You may have spent a lot of time going through all the shaders and going through all the logo things and all that other crap. I don't know.
Are even the shaders coming over? I don't think they are. That would be a thing because those are in-game collectible. Like this is just the choose a thing and go part of the game.
I don't know, man. That game left such a bad taste in my mouth, and I am so aggravated that I
mentioned the game. Basically.
All of it happened. I am aggravated that game existed in my life. And here's the killer.
Another game I bought for you, by the way.
I know, and that's what kills me. And here's the other kicker about this, right? So not only do you get the game, but we go a week in, and I think I was like annoyed with the game at that point. Like I was like maybe a week
when we first got it.
Yeah, okay. I don't think it lasted very
different
long.
Game from what it is right now, anyways.
But even then, like watching it while it grew, I was like, man, this game just pisses me off. Like I don't think anything about that game.
Plenty of podcasts to go back to. No,
let's talk about it some more.
The strange thing is, maybe this is because I'm not picking up Destiny 2. I'm kind of into this event. Like they've said it's the last event. Something about a complete game is way more attractive to me than following a game live or having to deal with numerous content releases, which is Destiny. Like that's the game that was going to be from the beginning. So
right. And
whatever.
That was like, I'm not going to get into it, but
no, we don't have to. I'm going to pick it up again. I'll tell you right now.
Let's get it. I am not. I don't. Okay. I don't even have it installed. It's actually been uninstalled. So
I believe you.
In the grand scheme of things, do you remember? What was it? 2 PAXs ago, I think.
Possibly, yeah. I think it was.
We got to go off site to a little thing Epic did for a game called Fortnite, and it had to be 2 years ago. And we get to play it for about 2 hours. You, me, and Adam Parkin.
Correct.
Former friend of the show. Still doesn't play PC games. No. So we got to play this game, and Fortnite, that Epic had been working on for a while, and they've been working on it ever since. And it's a very bizarre game. It's a very unique game where you had kind of a survival aspect to it. You had a resource management thing where you had to also build a base to stop creatures, and then you had to fight the creatures.
The over-reductive descriptor was Horde meets Minecraft, right?
Yes, and the over-reductive is correct. Okay. But the game it's been in closed beta for a long time. It's had consistent updates. They've had a team behind it. Actually, when I was in North Carolina last year, going to Epic for the Paragon thing, that I did bring that up with KL, and we talked a little bit about it. He said, yeah, it's going. They've got a solid player base that's been going. And so finally, after like 2 years in closed beta, it's going to go, Fortnite is following the footsteps of Paragon and doing an open beta where the game's going to go free to play, and they're going to, this is Epic's new thing. They're going this full model of, we're going to free to play.
This is how they do games now. Yeah,
that's what they're doing. So within the next year, Fortnite will have an open beta. So hang out for that. I want to check it out.
There wasn't really an end game for that discussion. No, it was fun to check in.
I want to check it out and see where it's at, because it is something that similar to Paragon. Like what I saw last year, it doesn't exist now. Like the Paragon now is so different.
Yeah. And you're right. That's Epic. Like this is coming from Tim Sweeney, and he said that this is Epic 4.0. I think basically, is. It's going to be in beta for a long time, and I think Paragon's still in beta technically, isn't it? Right now. Yeah,
Paragon's still in open beta. It'll never be final.
Whatever. Yes, I thought it would be interesting to talk about because we've played it and it was fun, and will be probably even more fun.
It might be.
Last but not least, we played Ghost Recon Wildlands last week or the week before. Apparently, so did Bolivia.
Yeah, they were not happy.
They were not. They contacted the French consulate.
Sure.
Because that's where the Ubisofters that made Ghost Recon Wildlands live.
Yeah, Yves Guillemot.
And they said, hey, not nice. Fix it. or we'll sue you. Quote, we have the standing to do it, take legal action, but at first we prefer to go the route of diplomatic negotiation, said Carlos Romero, Bolivia's interior minister.
Ubisoft then sent in a small squad of hitmen.
Bearded skull makeup men.
In ghillie suits.
Yeah. No, the Ubisoft's actual statement was pretty good. It's the quote, while the game's premise imagines a different reality than the one that exists in Bolivia today, we do hope that the in-game world comes close to representing the country's beautiful topography.
Mm-hmm. Like that Ubisoft saying, jam it.
Yeah. We're not drug lords. Hey, your trees are beautiful. Look at your mountains.
You have a gorgeous, gorgeous landscape. Cocaine.
This is actually coming from Kotaku. Luke Plunkett. His last line is pretty great too. On this article, did you get that? Nobody tell them about Scarface.
Yeah. All right.
It says volumes though, because
volumes of cocaine.
Yeah.
It says volumes.
Speaking of which, we've spent enough time on everything. Just go.
Okay, here we go. It's your turn, right? 30 seconds on the clock. Ryan Miller. No Man's Sky won a Game Developer's Choice Award, and no one was there to accept it.
Joke complete. It's life imitating life.
Do you think when they were looking for them on stage, they went, hello games? No Man's Sky won a Game Developer's Choice Award, and no one was there to accept it.
Hey, relax, lightning round. I'll make the jokes around here. Oh no, the segment has become sentient.
More like No Man's Acceptance.
I guess death threats are the way to go.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Whoa.
That's maybe a step too far.
Hey, what games are coming out?
Pokemon Go is not a game that's coming out. Robo Recall is coming
just
out.
At the top of your mind, man.
It was optional
ready.
talking. Robo Recall is out for free on Oculus Rift. I'm looking forward to. I've got to check Revive and see if that's been.
Oh yeah, you can try to put that on your Vive.
Portable.
Nice, okay.
I might. I haven't tried Revive yet. I haven't installed it. So, but also next Tuesday, Star Trek Bridge Crew. Yeah. I can finally live out my dream of being a red shirt that does nothing on the deck of the ship.
Except die.
No.
Does that cost money?
Of course it does.
Okay.
It's a Ubisoft game. It costs money, and my face is going to be like inside of the stomach of somebody else. I'm going to look like Kuatu from Total Recall.
Okay.
So what? So what? Go check out that Mutant Football League video. The Kickstarter ended Monday. It did. Monday. It was successful. They actually got all of their stretch goals, which is very exciting.
Oh, nice.
So that means we're going to get a full season of Mutant League football, or Mutant Football League, I should say.
Yeah, you could say it. Whichever.
Yeah. And the exciting part, again, of that is it's coming to consoles, too, so you'll get to try it.
Cool.
So check out that video. Check out our hit play. That's also up online, probably, with a video game. And then we also have a website. You can go there. It is www.0HITPoints.com. Okay, you interrupted me. I got to say it again. So www.0HITPoints.com.